Hard to believe it's the last weekend of conference play already. This season really has flown by. So getting ready to head on the road to number one team in the country. So very excited about that opportunity. And then after that, the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. So as Bill Belichick would say, right now we're on to Tennessee, and that's our focus.
Start with Al.
You have a weekend rotation for this series yet?
Not ready to announce it yet. Not ready to announce it.
Jack.
Hey, Mark, do you feel like there's a sense of urgency, after this past weekend to get, back on track as quickly as possible? And then, that's also including the fact that you guys maybe need another win or two to, leave no doubt about your regional hopes of whether it's hosting or wherever you guys go?
Sense of urgency is something that's always in an SEC baseball program. I wouldn't say there's ever not a sense of urgency, and that starts on day one of the fall. There's always a sense of urgency. If you have to ramp that up because you had a tough weekend, then something's wrong. We always have a sense of urgency, and the guys know that every day is to be taken advantage of, and so that never changes.
Speaking of, obviously, the regionality, you obviously with the guys, you tell them one game at a time, you keep them focused, but have y'all had any conversations as a staff about what you're kind of thinking you want to get out of this weekend to try and put yourself in a good position?
You can't look too far ahead because it does you no good. You just have to try to win the next game. And if you win the next game, then you try to win the game after that. Belaboring RPIs and all that stuff, it does nothing to help you win the games. And so at the end of the season, they look at your RPI, they look at your record, they look at your strength of schedule, and they decide who did enough to get in the NCAA tournament. So all we can do is control what we can control, and that's to try to win baseball games. And everything else is a byproduct of that.
The pitching staff this past weekend had a rough weekend top to bottom. How do you approach as a coach handling their emotions, and how do you go about handling a staff when you're just trying to find the right guy? Do you go back to what you feel like your best guys are, or do you try to blow things up and find something different?
Yeah, I think number one is they've got to know we have their back, because I think that's really important, because confidence is such a big part of success. And so they need to know we have their back. Even if we change their role, it doesn't mean we don't believe in you. It just means that we think this might be a better role for the team and for you right now. And so I think that's the number one thing, is just to continue to let them know we think we can win with you. We know we can win with you. We're going to make some adjustments potentially, but when you get the ball, go out there and be the best you can be. Obviously, we struggled a lot on the mound this weekend. I think Georgia had a lot to do with that. It's an incredible offense that they put together, but it was one weekend, and you just have to move on.
You won't know until you get out there on Thursday, but these last couple days at least, have you liked the response from your guys after that series, or what's kind of the mood been like here the last 48 or so hours?
Guys are fine. Look, it's a long season. The SEC, I've said it a million times, if you're looking to go undefeated, don't play in the SEC. If you're looking to have glossy records, this is probably not the league for you. This is a league about being really good, surviving it, and then getting to the postseason. Most of the time for most of the teams. Obviously, some teams go on a magical run and they get to the point where they have everything in place to dominate our league. It doesn't happen very often. But for the most part, our league is about surviving it, staying as even keel as you can through the 30-game marathon that our league is, and then get to the postseason and get hot. That's how Mississippi State did it and won a national championship. That's how Ole Miss did it and won a national championship. That's what our league is.
It's been a few days since Eli's start on Friday. Two-part question. One, when you go back and watch the tape, what did you kind of see that was standing out from a control standpoint or anything like that? And then two, with this week, what do you try to work on to get him back to that point of where you want him to be?
Yeah, his control and his movement haven't been what they were when he's at his best, and I know Matt thinks he found something with him that they've been able to work on. I was just watching him throw a bullpen just a few minutes ago, and we're hopeful that the adjustment that they're making will pay dividends and get him back to where he was when he was a Friday night starter. Because at the end of the day, I believe deep in my heart, if we can get a lot of these guys to just play close to their full capacity, then we can and will beat anybody in the country. But we have to get them there. We need Eli to be the Friday night type starter. We need all these guys to hit the way they're capable. We need our pitchers to be at the top of their game. If we do that, that's how you get hot when it really matters.
You got a group of highly competitive guys. When you're looking to make a splash here at the end, is there an element of motivation in the fact that hard to ask for a better opportunity than going on the road at the number one team in the country?
Well, it feels like we've played top 1, 2, or 3 teams all year, so this is nothing new to us. We have played now, after this weekend, we will have played the top 7 RPI teams in the country, every single one of them, all 7. And so we're used to playing the best of the best. We're used to winning games against the best of the best, and this will probably be as big a challenge as we've had because it's now on the road to finish the season. So it's a challenge, it's an opportunity, and it's up to us to take advantage of it.
They're playing for an SEC championship this weekend, trying to catch Kentucky. Does that, do you think, play a factor in any team's mindset going into a weekend? Not your team, but their team.
Well, I'm sure they have something to play for. We all have something to play for. So at the end of the day, you've seen that galvanize teams, and you've seen teams sometimes play not their best because they want something so bad. So I think it just will, when we get there, you know, it's going to be baseball. It's going to be who pitches better, who hits better, who takes clutch at bats, who plays better on defense. It's just going to be baseball games, and at the end of the weekend, someone will have played better and won the series. It's just as simple as that.
It's obviously a very well-rounded team at number 1 in the country, but is there any one thing that really stands out to you about Tennessee?
Well, it's power. There's no question. They have 5 guys that have double-digit homers, and they have, I mean, looking at the stats, they have 5 guys within striking distance of getting to 20 by the end of the season. So it's a power team. They've been a power team now for quite some time, and, you know, their pitching is under a 4 ERA, and they field .979. So it's a well-rounded team, no question about it.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.